Hi, my name is Dean Kasavicki. I'm going to do a quick review of the Sony RX-100. When I was doing my research on purchasing this camera, I found that most of the reviews that I saw were people who do reviews for whatever reason, but they're not people who have purchased the camera and had a lot of hands-on experience with the camera. They might have used it for a couple weeks. So I thought it might be useful if I did a little review, because the camera kind of surprised me a little bit, so I thought it might be helpful for others to hear some feedback about it. This camera is the Sony RX-100. My previous camera to this was the Canon S100. I work as a photographer for a living, primarily as a corporate and advertising photographer. I almost always carry a pocket camera on me so that I have something with me all the time to take photos with. And I will very often license or sell prints of the photos that I take with my point-and-shoot camera. And so image quality is very, very important to me. I want the ability to have all manual settings, same as my DSLR, and produce a RAW file similar to my DSLR camera. And so I look at things, you know, sensor quality, all this kind of thing, and how much manual control I can have when I'm taking pictures in difficult lighting situations, because I don't always want to drag my DSLR around with me. You know, lenses, so on and so forth. It's just too much to drag around. So I was excited when I heard about this Sony camera, and I did a little bit of research on it. Found a lot of people who had the camera that I was currently using, which was the Canon S100, which also shoots RAW. It's roughly about the same size. It's roughly about the same weight. It has a smaller sensor. They tell me that this camera has about 3 times the sensor. This is a 20 megapixel camera. Take that for what it's worth. Not all megapixels are created equal. It is heavier and a little bit larger in all directions than the Canon is. But as you use it, you'll find that over the S100, I don't notice it. I still put it in all the same cases I had for my S100. I carry it in the same pocket in a case as my S100. The lens is noticeably larger. It's a T-Star Carl Zeiss lens. It's a larger front element. It's a 28 mil lens as opposed to a 24 that was on the S100. But I found that the 24 gave me some barrel distortion, and that I would always have to fix in Photoshop depending on what I was photographing. If I was photographing landscape, then it was less likely that it would require any fixing. But if I was photographing anything with lines or a picture of somebody, I would almost always have to take out the barrel distortion. So I'm very happy with the 28 mil lens. I wouldn't want any less wide than 28 though. It also has a lot of interesting features in it, but they only work if you're producing a JPEG. So there's all kinds of the crazy features, like you can put it on food to take pictures of food setting, you know, like all that kind of stuff. But there's also some stuff with dynamic range, which is very useful, with image stabilization, where it takes, I think, 6 or 8 shots and then stitches them together to reduce blur and grain, which is actually kind of useful in some situations where there's no other option for getting the photo that you want to get. The shutter is not as long, so you can't take as long of a shutter photo with this. You can't drop the shutter speed down as low as you can on the S100. Plus, at some point when this wheel is very similar, you scroll it down to adjust the shutter speed, and at some point it previews your exposure changes, so it gets brighter on the back as you move the shutter. At some point it stops doing that, and so you keep going with the wheel, but it's already stopped showing you the preview. It sort of tops out at a certain brightness, so you take the photo and then it's completely blown out. So you have to pay attention. There's a lot of histogram information too that shows up on the back, like a live histogram and stuff, which is very nice. This camera over the S100, you will not be able to pick it up and just take pictures with it quite the same way you did. There's a lot of features to turn on and off. There's a lot of different types of focusing that you can do, all this kind of thing, and there's a lot of like hotkeys that that you can get, like function keys and stuff like that, and things you can change. So it's going to take some shooting before you get the hang of it. I have no regrets with this camera. I think it's a great camera. I purchased an additional battery for it, which I've never had to use. I've never used it in one day down to the end of the battery. I also purchased this grip for it, which is really, really nice. Better than what it looks like on the website, by the way. I would highly recommend the grip. And the one complaint I do have if any, is that you have to plug the camera in to charge the battery, so the camera is occupied. So if you have two batteries, your camera has to be occupied while you charge the other one. Other than that, the weight and what have you is no different. Like, you're not going to notice a big difference in the camera. With the grip, I purchased the Sony case that it comes with. With the grip, it technically doesn't fit in it, but I was able to cut the faux leather and then fold it back underneath after I had cut. You'll need tin snips to do this. This is a sort of paper board that's in here. And then you'll need tin snips because there's some tin on the paper board. And it fits in nicely, so if you're going hiking or something, you can take it in this. Most of the time it sits in a little case in my pocket with like this. I've already been able to sell some images off this, and both in RAW and JPEG they produce great images. The RAW files are large, so I often will switch back and forth if I'm just taking family photos. I just take it in JPEG because it does a really great job with JPEG. I'm still learning some of the features on it. There's a very, very large menu. But overall, I'm more than happy with the camera. I sold my S100 when I purchased this because they're almost identical in purpose. So, and I have no regrets with doing that. It's a great camera. It might be a little too much camera if you're just taking pictures of family doing stuff, unless you're into photography. There is a noticeable image quality difference between the S100 and this, and I do see it in both the RAW and the JPEG files. But you may not notice that unless you work with images all the time. It kind of sticks out to me. I can't say 100% that it would stick out to just about everybody, but you know, you're looking critically at the images and sharpness and so forth. So I will also say that the high ISO is very, very good at this. I've shot at 1000 ISO for mostly just family photos, but even your family photos people judge you on because you're a photographer. So I'm very comfortable shooting at that high ISO because I almost never use a flash. The flash is very good. There's a lot of control over the flash output, and I'm very happy with it either way. I've used the flash like maybe twice. I've shot on a tripod, shot sunset photos with this. You can get filters as well that you can stick on these. They're aftermarket type of things, and there's like a little thing you put on the front, and then you can screw on your different 52 filters. If you're a Nikon, you should get some 52s, so you can just screw those on. And because there's no drop-in ND filter like in the S100. The S100 has a 3-stop ND filter that's built in, which was a feature I really liked. It's not available on this, but for 20 megapixels and for this pocket size, I'm very excited about this camera and what they'll be able to produce moving forward for the price point. They make an RX-100, I think it is. It's like $3,000, which is, it's too much camera for just throwing in my pocket. But the technology is coming, and I'm very excited that I can carry a very sort of unintrusive camera like this and do documentary work and so on and so forth with a camera this size. And it shoots amazing video as well, which is not something I'm into a lot, but it's nice to have the feature there for. So anyway, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.